c00lkidd. We all know him, we all love him. But what if you could be him? What if you could have your own little cool kid, just like c00lkidd? As you probably guessed, I'm going to show you how to create your own cool kid plush to have, I guess. Also, if you want, you can add magnets like I did to make them both posable and explodable. So first, you need to get a nice good layer of skin for your cool kid. I used a red flannel I had laying around, but I would recommend a fabric with some fur, like a minky, so that way it's more plush-like and softer. To make the arms and legs, there are two approaches. You can cut out a ton of rectangles and squares and sew each side of the limbs together, or you could make a big strip that is as wide as all four of those rectangles, and sew that to the top and bottom of the arms. In my opinion, it's easier to sew and cut out a bunch of individual rectangles and then combine all of those together, because you only have to sew in straight lines and there's not as much weird things with curving around the piece while you're sewing it around the square. The problem is it takes a lot longer to do compared to the strip method, which involves a lot less cutting and sewing. I use the regular method, so I'll be showing that, but I'll try to include how the strip method would work if you want me to do that instead. For the plush, you're going to want to cut out 20 rectangles, 8 small squares, and 2 big squares for the limbs and body. For the rectangles, their length should be double their width. The small squares' sides will be the same size as the small sides of the rectangles, and the big squares' sides will be the same size as the big sides of the rectangles. For example, if the small side on your rectangle was 3 inches, the large side would be 6 inches, so the rectangle would be 3 by 6 inches. The small squares would be 3 by 3, and the big squares would be 6 by 6. If you were using the strip method, you would make one big rectangle that was the length of 4 rectangles combined. For example, if your rectangle was 3 by 6, you would instead make a 12 by 6 one instead. Also, you would make 2 rectangles, 2 big squares, 8 small squares, and 4 strips. After you have your 20 rectangles, 8 small squares, and 2 big squares cut out, you can add magnets if wanted. You will need to pick out 6 rectangles and 2 squares to add magnets to. For the squares, you will need to add magnets to the center of them and glue a patch on top to keep it sealed. This patch will go inside of the plush and will not be seen. So keep in mind when making sure your magnets connect that the part of the fabric that the magnet isn't on will be on the outside, and that's the part that's gonna connect together. Pick 2 of your rectangles and make a line in the center. Make a line in the center of one of the 2 segments you just made. This is where the magnet will go. Next, get out 2 more rectangles and repeat the same process. These will be the body, so make sure these connect to the ones you made before, but repel each other. After that, get a rectangle and repeat the process of making a line down the center, but this time you will add 2 magnets, 1 in each section. These will also be a part of the body. The legs are going to connect to both of these magnets. Last but not least, you will need to get one last rectangle and put a magnet in the middle. There is one last magnet I haven't talked about though, but we will need to cut out the head for that. The measurements of the head are a bit more complicated. You will need to get the diameter, which is pretty much just the width of the circle, to be the same as the width of your small squares. I would recommend printing out a circle with the right diameter, or drawing a little plus sign in the middle where each line is the same length as that diameter or small square length, and then draw your circle out around it if you're confident enough in your circle drawing abilities. So for the next step, you'll need to take your diameter and multiply it by pi. After you get that measurement, I would recommend rounding up to a whole number to get some extra space and make the measuring easier. For example, if your number was 9.42, which is what you would get with a diameter of 3, you should round up to 10, so that way you don't run out of space when sewing. If you have any excess space, you can always cut it off, so it's better to have excess space than not enough. You are going to want to make a rectangle with this measurement. The diameter of your circle, which again is the side length of the small square. Now, cut out 2 circles in one of these rectangles. Take one of the circles and put a magnet in the center. That should attract the last magnet we put in. Remember, your magnets will attach on the outside, so make the sides without the magnets on them attract. After this, you're ready to sew them together. This is pretty simple to do, but remember to leave a hole to turn the pieces inside out and stuff them. I would recommend doing the body first. You will need the rectangle with a magnet in the center, 2 of the ones with magnets near the top, the rectangle with 2 magnets, and 2 big squares. You know your magnets are in there correct if all of these parts repel on the outside. When sewing the body, put the rectangle with 2 magnets on the bottom, the rectangles with magnets near the top on the sides, with their magnets facing up, and the rectangle with the magnet in the center on the top. After all that's sewn, we can make the arms. Both are the same, so make sure to do these steps twice. Get 4 rectangles, one of them needs to have a magnet in it. Also get 2 small squares. Make sure this magnet attracts to the side of the body on the outside. After that, sew it all together. Moving on to the legs, they are also the same, so do these steps twice. Get 4 rectangles and 2 squares. One of the squares needs to have a magnet in the center. Make sure these magnets attract to the bottom of the body on the outside. After that, sew it together. Now for the head. Get your 2 circles and long rectangle, and make sure the circle with the magnet attracts to the top of the body. Sew it together. Now we can move on to an easier part after all that stress. First, turn whatever piece you want to stuff inside out through the hole you left. After that, get your stuffing and fill up your plush until it reaches the desired squishability. Now, cut out a silly little face, or 3D print it like I did, and glue it onto his face. You can also draw on a face with Sharpie if you want. Speaking of drawing, we can draw on his iconic Team Cool Kid joined today on his body. You can also cut and paste each letter on him, but that takes a while and sometimes looks worse. But if you want to, it can also look better. Now, you should probably seal up those holes. Only do this if you're sure that all of your magnets are connecting right. The way to check is that, say for example, if you have the arm, it should be able to attach to all of the magnets on the body, but repel from all of the other limbs. That way you can switch around the limbs anywhere on the body you want, and it just makes it more fun to mess around with. I would recommend carefully using a hot glue or hand sewing to seal all the stuffing holes. Now you should be done. You can hug him, take him apart, fill him with milk and throw him against the wall, or whatever you wish to do. I also made mine compatible with the Hex plushies, so I can make them terrifying. Cool bear. Oh. For the... what am I talking about? I forgot to speak. The small squares sides will be the same size as the small... Why are there so many S's? The small square's sides will be the same size as the small sides of... will... You know, I'm sewing the body, but the rectangle with 2 now, cut out a little... seriously, man, this is supposed to be the easy part. You can also height the bush face a lot. Now, you should probably seal up those holes. If you're sure that all the magnets... but...
Hey, yo, chill the fuck out, yo. You sitting there playing with